Hey, this is the Headset Historian, and today I want to take a quick look at two keyboards that I've been using for the Quest 3. I feel like I should preface this just before I start. When I say my favorite keyboard, I mean this after I've tried a bunch. I just settled on this form factor of keyboard as the type that I want to go forward with, but I've tried a bunch of mechanical keyboards and mouse combinations and stuff like that. You know, I've had like small miniature keyboards, full-size keyboards, etc, etc. But what I want the Quest for with a keyboard is portability and being able to use it anywhere. So not just sitting at a desk. So that's why this form factor ended up being what I decided to go ahead with. Alright, so with that out of the way, back to the video. So the first one is the Artec HB305-4B universal backlit Bluetooth touch keyboard, and the other one is this one, the Rii 2.4G wireless and Bluetooth dual mode multimedia keyboard with touchpad RT-721. So always really elegant naming conventions on these products. So these two keyboards are multimedia keyboards is what they're mainly aimed for. Usually they're aimed for people that are using, you know, like a PC in their living room as their multimedia device. So you've got a touchpad built in with a keyboard. There is an officially supported Quest one, although I think support was kind of dropped. That Logitech one. I think it's the R800 or something, but that one for a while was actually tracked by the Quest 3. I don't think that's supported anymore, and also that's quite an old keyboard, and for some reason it's not available in Europe whatsoever. So that one wasn't an option for me, and it was also about twice the price of these ones. There is another cheaper Logitech one, but I tried it before and it's just a touchpad and it's really not that great. So these two were quite cheap. They were both cost about 25 sterling, so that's maybe about $32 or so, about 30 euro. So let's take a look at this one first. Now what I want these for is for productivity. So using apps like Fluid or Immersed and being able to, you know, use your mouse and keyboard within the headset. So for having multiple browser windows or for remote desktoping into my PC and such. One thing I think a lot of people don't realize is the mouse. If you connect a Bluetooth mouse, it works everywhere on the Quest, you know, as in within the Quest UI and stuff. So you can actually select all the buttons that you see on the Quest home using a mouse. Just a little cursor appears, which is pretty nice. So this was the first one that I got, and I was pretty happy with it initially. And like, yeah, so here it is. It's straightforward enough. You've got this touchpad, you've got the left and right click, and then you've got the keyboard itself. So it's very, very nice and slim, which is quite good. The battery life seems great on it. It's just USB-C charging, and it also comes with a little dongle, so you can connect it by, you know, this USB dongle, or you can connect it by Bluetooth, and that's one of the benefits of this one. So for example, if you use an Immersed currently you have to have a direct connection to the device that you're using. So if you were using Immersed with your PC, you need a direct Bluetooth or dongle connection. So what could be nice is if you're switching between your PC and switching between running apps within the Quest, then you could just quickly do that with this one without having to repair it. But yeah, the build quality of this one is actually very nice. It feels very solid and sturdy. It's got this kind of aluminium frame or just metal frame of some variety, and the touchpad itself is very nice and smooth. It's got these additional buttons here like volume control and stuff, but also both keyboards support multi-touch, so you can scroll using, you know, a 2-finger swipe. But yeah, keyboard in this is fine. It's like your very, very typical, if you're used to any like Dell laptops or such, the kind of mid-range Dell laptops, it's that sort of chiclet, very typical feeling keyboard. It's fine. It's not bad. They're good sizing. It's maybe slightly smaller. Like here's my mechanical keyboard that I use most of the time, and you can see the key sizing is pretty much the same. Just obviously a keyboard like this is going to have a lot more travel. It's just going to be a more enjoyable typing experience. Like I could use this one because this one is Bluetooth, but the thing is, I wanted to have a built-in touchpad, and the main reason for that is scenarios where like I'm sitting on a sofa or I'm sitting on a deck chair outside or something like that, where using a mouse isn't really convenient. I found this was just kind of the ideal form factor for a keyboard for doing productivity in VR, and I've been actually very happy with that. So yeah, this one was great. I got this one first, and just by the way, I didn't get sent these or anything. This is just, I bought these myself because I was trying to find the right keyboard for me. And this one I was very happy with. The only thing was, once I started using it indoors, it starts to become very difficult to see the keyboard. If the light's dark at all, you can't really see the keyboard. Now I can touch type, so that's usually not a problem, but I find because it's not my main keyboard, I end up needing to look at it sometimes to orientate my hands, or I might need to look at it to see certain symbols that I'm not typically pressing. So even if you are touch typing, maybe this is something that other people don't find, but even if I touch type, I still end up needing to look at the keyboard the odd time, but not if it's my main keyboard at my desk. I'm just so used to that. But if it is this keyboard, because I'm not massively used to it, because I don't use it as much as my other keyboard, and also because it'll be getting used in, you know, kind of awkward positions on a sofa or something like that, I end up finding that yeah, I need to look at it, just glance at it the odd time to kind of orientate myself, or if I'm looking for any of these sort of special symbols. So that became an issue with this one. So that's why I also ended up getting the RTEC one with its frustration-free packaging. That's an interesting one. It's just a box. So this one is very similar. You know, you can see size-wise, they're almost the exact same. This one is a bit more tilted up. It's not, well, it's pretty much as thin. You can see there, very similar form factor. This one is more plasticky. It doesn't feel as high quality. The keys themselves are totally fine. I think I probably prefer the feel and sound of this keyboard, but realistically, you know, that's not that huge of a deal for a secondary keyboard. So the main reason this one was so great was because it has the backlight. You can see that there, hopefully. The main reason I preferred this one was because it does light up, and that I can't see that. So it doesn't have a dongle, so that might be a deal breaker for some people. It's USB-C charging also, and the touchpads are almost identical. This touchpad does feel nicer, but I actually found this touchpad, it's a bit larger, and I found it to be a bit more responsive. So you know, it doesn't actually look larger, but I mean, this is the actual area of this one, and this is the area of this one. So even though this one looks a bit smaller, the effective area that you're using is actually a bit larger. So the main reasons I've ended up preferring this one was the backlight, which makes it more useful in more scenarios, and also these left and right click buttons. These ones where if you are, you know, using the touchpad and trying to press these, I have a tendency to press at the top, and because they're kind of hinged sort of keys, if you press at the top, it's very difficult. You're meant to really press down here, so you're meant to do it like that, but I find that an awkward hand position, and you can't tap. But for some reason, these multimedia keyboards with their touchpads, I've always found that the tap to select is always, there's always a latency for some reason. So I much prefer pressing the button. It feels like a lot more instant. So for this one, pressing these buttons is a lot easier, so that was quite a benefit. So yeah, ultimately I decided to go ahead with this one, and I'm keeping this one as my main one for the two reasons of the backlight and the easier to use buttons. I will say the Rii keyboard is the nicer keyboard. It's just they're both pretty much the same price. The Rii keyboard feels nicer, it's better build quality, and it is nice that it's got the dongle. It's just this keyboard ended up being the better keyboard. I'm going to show you a little bit of footage just from inside the headset, just to kind of explain some points. Okay, so here I am in the Quest 3, so hopefully you can see everything you know, hopefully nothing's cut off. So here's the keyboard. So I'm using it in kind of a typical way I'd end up using it, where I'm sitting on a chair, you know, it's sitting on my leg. So it's kind of a scenario where you're not going to be using a mouse and keyboard. So I might be wanting to just bring up a few browser windows. So something that a lot of people don't know is if you have a mouse, Bluetooth mouse connected, it'll actually show up in the Quest Home. So I can click on any of these buttons as you'd expect as normal. So let's bring up the browser for a second. So here I have the browser up. So just so you can see that mouse moving about, you know, to be fair, I need to look into see if there's a way to increase the sensitivity of the mouse. I think I'd need to increase the sensitivity on the Quest 3 side, because any mouse I've used or any touchpad I've used has been this same sort of, you know, you're doing quite a few movements. I guess you've also, you know, realistically, you've got a much larger amount of room that you need to move the mouse around. So if I go up here and let's just say google.com. Okay, so they're on Google, and if I just, this is a test of the keyboard. So I can type that in just fine. There's no latency. It's all actually like very responsive. It's quite nice. And then you can also, so let's see if I just go to YouTube for a second, or whatever, yeah, YouTube, let's go to YouTube, and I can scroll up and down using 2 fingers. That works just fine. I typically invert it. I haven't found a way to invert it yet, so I've just got to go with the default scroll direction for that. And then pinch to zoom, I don't think works. Anytime I try to pinch to zoom, it just goes to scroll instead. But yeah, then, you know, you can, let's see, can you do the triple click to close browser window? No, you can't. So your mouse, you know, your multi-input gestures and stuff like that are going to be fairly limited. But this is a pretty good experience right now, just using it like this. And this is in a very, very well-lit environment. So I can see the keyboard no problem here without the backlight. One thing to make clear is that this is going to look a lot clearer in the video than it is in the actual pass-through within the headset. So let me turn off this big light above me. And apologies if the place is a mess. I'm currently in the midst of moving house yet again. But anyway, so here you can see this is probably still quite legible to you. It's actually fine to me. I've got quite a bit of light coming in here. So if I just put my hand over here, you might still be able to see that in the video recording. But these keys here, I can't see these keys at all now. But if I turn on the backlight, I can see them just fine. So that's really, really nice. And let me open up another app just so you see. So I'm going to open Fluid. So that's an app that I've been using quite a bit for productivity and stuff. The screen recording might start to chug a little bit. But Fluid is, I'm going to be making a video about this soon, but it's just a productivity app that's all based on browsers. So you can have multiple windows floating in space. So I'm just using the trackpad now. I can grab this, oh sorry, that's going to be off. I can grab this window and I can move about in any way I need. But one nice thing is if I grab this window and use 2 fingers, I can zoom it in and out. So I don't need to go with the hand tracking to do that. I can do it all with the mouse on the, or with the trackpad on the keyboard. So then I can, you know, bring up, let's say I bring up YouTube. Whoops. So yeah, that'll do. That's a random YouTube page, whatever. So if I bring up YouTube here, and then maybe I want to go to whatever, Spotify over here, and listen to some music while I'm also watching a YouTube video and melting my brain. But yeah, it's just it's pretty neat. And you know, regardless of the lighting conditions, I can see this keyboard just fine, and that works really well. So I just want to show that off for a bit. And yeah, overall I really like this. This is definitely my preferred way to have input for productivity in the Quest or in VR headsets in general. This keyboard and mouse touchpad, keyboard and touchpad form factor it seems pretty ideal for me, just in the terms of versatility. If you've got a dedicated desk setup, then of course a mouse and typical keyboard is going to be better. But the Quest headset, when I'm using it for productivity, the
the whole point is that I'm not at my desk. I'm on an airplane, I'm at the bus station, I'm wherever else. So I can chuck this into a backpack with the Quest really quick and easy. I can head on out, and I've got a really good full multi-monitor setup anywhere I want at any time, and man, I can't overstate how much of a value add that is for me personally for a Quest 3 and such. So I absolutely love it. Alright, I love it!
Alright, and that's it. I think that covers everything. I wanted this to be a quick video. I think it's probably still going to be over 10 minutes as usual. For some reason I'm just a demon for doing these longer videos that could absolutely be 2 or 3 minutes. But yes, hopefully this was informative and useful, and I'll have links for these. There'll be Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So I have no affiliation with these companies. It's just, there's Amazon links. If someone buys something, you get a bit of a kickback, which is nice. But yeah, I would recommend the RTech keyboard overall, but they're both very good keyboards. And I was looking around trying a few different types of these keyboards, keyboard with a touchpad, and to be honest, these are the only two that stood out as really worthwhile, to be totally honest. There is a lot of them that just looked quite bad. So yeah, there you go. The only other thing I'll say is there are some folding ones if you wanted ones in an even smaller form factor that would fit in, your carrying case for your headset. That could potentially be an option, but realistically, those ones, I've tried them before and they're really bad. The keyboards are just almost untypable. So these are a really good size. And I think also you'd find these, have a lot of use in your home in general. If you ever use a PC for, playing media on your TV or anything, these come in really handy. So yeah, that's it. These two keyboards, the RTech one and the Rii keyboard. RTech wins out by just a bit, but the Rii one, if you got it on sale or a good price, might still be worth looking into, or if the dongle is a big deal for you. But yeah, hope that was useful, and yeah, hopefully it helps some people make a decision. All right, take care, guys.